Hello and welcome to FPL, mate, your best mate for Fantasy Premier League for the 2020-21 season. My name is Dan, and today I'm going to be sharing with you how I plan on winning FPL 2020-21. Okay, maybe I won't necessarily win it, but today I'm going to be talking a bit of my personal strategy guide and try and break down the whole concept of winning FPL. Just to sort of allow you to see that it's kind of manageable, it is achievable. I mean, every year one person wins it, right? But definitely going in to a season with a plan, with a general strategy, even though things will toss and turn and change along the way, if you have a general strategy, you give yourself at least a chance. And I want to prove that anyone can win Fantasy Premier League if they're willing to put the research, the work, the effort in. It is possible, and we're going to show you just how possible it is today. So before we get started, if you are interested in subscribing to my channel, please do consider subscribing, and you can join me on my journey to hopefully win FPL 2020 and 21. We'll see how it goes, but you know, I'm really hopeful of a really high finish. So hopefully you can join me along on this journey. I can help you along the way, help you improve your own Fantasy Premier League game as well. So without further ado, let's talk a little bit about how I'm going to win Fantasy Premier League 2020-21. So right, let's start off by saying that this whole video was inspired by a Fantasy Football Hub article by Eric Freeman. Now, I really like Fantasy Football Hub. It's definitely one of the things I'm using in my journey to win the Fantasy Premier League. It's got so many useful tools on there that are really invaluable, sort of like Opta stats. You can check out different players' expected stats and sort of make predictions on which players to go for. They've got fixture tickers on there, so you can predict sort of which fixtures are good to target, which ones are bad, and they've got plenty of articles on there. So if you want to go check out Fantasy Football Hub, 25% off, use my link in the description and you can go try that out. It's well worth a look, definitely. So right, the outline of this whole thing is that you need to win Fantasy Premier League around 2,500 points. Now, what we've got to do is basically chip away at those points and work out how we're going to get that total amount of points, where we're going to get points from each area. So let's start off with our chips. So your bench boost, you know, a bench boost is typically worth around 20 points. I think my bench boost last season was about 24 points in the end. Your free hit is about worth 20 points, so you gain 20 points extra for your free hit as opposed to your normal team. Obviously, you can make it work a little bit better than that. Triple captain, I guess on average, if you've chosen a really good captain, then you could get potentially 10 points from that. So now, from our total of 2,500, we're now looking to get 2,450 points because we knocked off the 50 from the chips. Now it's getting a little bit more manageable, but we've still got a long way to go. So let's look at my current team to see where we can get this 2,450 points from. So the best premium players in the game will score around 250 points over the season. As you can see, I've got two of the top level premium options in Salah and Aubameyang there. You know, if I add them two together, that's a combined 500 points. Say they get 250 points each, roughly 500 points between them. All good. If I always captain one of these top premium players every game, that means I'll get an additional 250 points across the season. Okay, so if I then switch between the two, depending on fixtures, then I can increase the total captaincy points again a little bit. And then if I make transfers to swap these big premium players, say I swap an Aubameyang to a Sterling, if Sterling's got a really good game, and make these transfers based on a fixture I want to captain a player on, I can perhaps make even more points up. So like I say, so Salah is captain 1 week, but next week, you know, I'm really liking the look of Man City's fixture. They're playing against Fulham, for example, at home. Sterling comes in for Salah, and I captain him, and I've made a really nice little gain there. So I'm just switching between the real top premium options and trying to get the most out of captaincy. So really going for the big hitting captaincy options. So that's going to gain me plenty of points, those transfers, that rotation between captaincy, and really I can suddenly be gaining around 300 points just from my captains alone. So 250 for each of the premium slots plus an additional 300 points for the captaincy. That leaves me with a total of 1,650 points to gain from my 9 remaining starting slots, or an average of 183 points per slot across the whole season. So each of the remaining 9 players has to average 183 points across the season. So some of my slots are naturally going to score more than this. So my set and forget Trent Alexander-Arnold, he's going to score a minimum of 200, let's say 210. My Son, which I plan on moving to Bruno in game week 2, that slot's going to probably hit a minimum of 200 again. Let's say 210 again, let's just for argument's sake. And my Werner spot is going to score a minimum of 200. But when you start rotating between Werner and the other premium forwards players, so sort of if I'm switching to Martial, I'm switching to Kane if I can go that way, that sort of thing, maybe even Aguero, we can really get that slot up to about 230 points if I rotate it well with those other premium forwards. So let's remove those 3 lower level premium players from the total, and I now got a grand total of 1,000 points to gain from my 6 remaining players. It's already looking a lot more manageable now. The problems are only just starting really, but when you look at it this way, we've divided it down into bite-sized chunks of how we're going to manage each individual area of our team. So we now know these 6 players left. We need to get 1,000 points across the season from these 6 slots. Not necessarily these players, but these slots. So this is a tough bit, as it means these 6 remaining slots need to score 167 points each over the course of the season, or an average of 4.38 points per game. Now, it's not impossible for these budgets and mid-tier level players to achieve this, but the reality is the only way you can get these kind of points totals from these remaining slots will depend on smart rotation, smart transfers at the right moments. And probably a little bit of luck from the players I've already ticked off as well to lower expectations from these remaining slots. But for example, one of my ways I'm going to manage this and try and get the most points out of the remaining slots is let's look at the defenders. So I've got 2 defenders on the pitch there, and I've got another 2 defenders on the bench. 4 defenders in total. This is excluding Alexander-Arnold, of course. So 4 defenders in total that are sort of lower priced. And I want to rotate them very wisely, always picking the 2 with the nicest fixture, the most likely to get the clean sheet. And if we look at that, and if every single game week, on average, I get 1 clean sheet out of the 2, which is not that hard. I only have to have, out of my 4 players, I have to get 1 of the 2 best ones get a clean sheet. Already, that has, those 2 players will average out the 4.38 points that I need. That's brilliant. So that's already there. Even if one gets an assist or a goal, that sort of counts as equal to a clean sheet. And those 2 defender slots will achieve the 167 points that I need over the course of the season. So that's sorted. That's another little bite-sized chunk I can tick off just there. Obviously, there'll be the same sort of tactics going in with the players further up the fields, but they'll be reliant more on transfers. Goalkeeper is going to be a little bit more difficult. It's kind of rare for a goalkeeper to score that high, especially if it's a sort of cheaper goalkeeper. But, you know, Nick Pope did achieve that score last season. So Nick Pope achieved it, so can Matt Ryan do it? I don't know. This is going to be, my keeper is going to be a set and forget. So my keeper isn't going to change right until my wild card. So that's going to be a more difficult position to get the points that I'm looking for. But if I can get close to it and sort of make up the rest with the rest of my team, then that's going to be good. But yeah, like I said, Pope has achieved that threshold, so you never know. And it will be a bit of luck, a bit of careful planning, fantastic transfer moves, which I won't go into too much in this video. But also at the same time, as the season progresses, my total value of my team is going to increase. So when you look at the remaining cheaper slots, I guess, actually they're going to become more and more expensive players in those slots as the season goes on as well. So it actually might look even more achievable as the season goes on, kind of thing. So it might be quite nice indeed. But these cheaper slots are going to increase in value, it's still going to be difficult, and I have to make the right transfers in these cheaper slots to get the point totals I needed. And you know, these positions are going to scale up as season goes by in terms of the points they'll be achieving, but you know, it will be okay. So that is basically as far as I'll go, because I can't predict what transfers I'm going to make at what point. Things are going to change, but you've got a very rough idea there. Everything's been broken down between top level premiums, lower level premiums, my rotating defenders, and the sort of the rest of the bunch who I can rotate. Hopefully, other than my keeper, obviously, I can rotate and hopefully pick up a few points from those remaining slots. And it's really nicely broken down, and it suddenly seems far more achievable. So that is how I plan on winning FPL in 2020-21. I know this has sort of been an incredibly crude and oversimplified strategy guide, but I did want to break it down and show that it's possible for any of us to win FPL with the right tactics going in and a good ideology going in. Realistically, am I going to win FPL? No chance. But with a plan in mind, I can give myself a chance at least, and I should get myself a really nice high finish at the very least with this lineup. So there you go. As I said, if you want to check out Fantasy Football Hub, the code for 25% off is in the description. This whole video was inspired by something on an article on their site, so I can only thank them for that. If you are interested in subscribing, if you want to follow my journey, as I say, into winning FPL, please do consider subscribing. Let's see how I get on, and hopefully I can help you guys as well. Please like the video if you found this helpful in any way. Hopefully you understood the kind of thing that I'm going to go for strategy-wise for the whole season. Hopefully it made a little bit of sense to you, the way I've broken it down, I guess. And other than that, sort of Twitter, Instagram, mini league code, Patreon, if you want to support me on there, is all in the description. Go check it out. And that is just about it for today. More videos, going to do a double upload today, so do stay tuned for that. But aside from that, I really hope to see you on that next one. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later, mates. Bye bye.